Homie, if you thought spin botters were bad, get a load of this. Hey guys, it's your boy JoJo, bringing you some of that quality content. Now today we're just gonna get to the point. Hackers suck. There's nothing worse than being demolished in a game by someone cheating. Someone who's not even good. Someone who can't even slam their own dick on your KDR. They need a computer to do it for them. To prevent this, many games have come up with different methods to keep spin botters out of your match, and a lot of them work pretty well. Now you got some that are a little more intrusive, like the Valorant anti-cheat. It's basically a rootkit. Or there's CSGO, letting the community decide what looks legit and what doesn't, along with a little bit of AI to filter out the different reports. Or you have the Rainbow Six Siege method, broadcasting every time someone's banned to strike fear into the hearts of hackers. Whatever the method, there's still hackers that slip through and manage to ruin your game, making you want to dropkick a baby out a 2-story window. And while now would be a great time to flip the script and talk about something positive, that's not what we're here to do. I'm sorry guys, there's no good news here, because hacking just got a lot worse and there's not really any way to stop it. Now we're gonna get technical here for a second, but I'll keep it dumbed down for you dodos. The usual way that people aimbot or triggerbot in a game involves them using software that injects code into the game, allowing them to wall hack or spin bot or whatever. Anti-cheat software looks for this, and if they find it, they shut it down. Different systems like Battle.net and VAC scan for code that looks suspicious, or goes through a list of already known cheats and code that it's found before. Valorant is a game that's known to have one of the most intrusive anti-cheats out there, because it basically gives itself full control of your computer to make sure that no hacks are being run. So now we're 2 minutes in and you're probably thinking, JoJo, what's this new hack? How can it be stopped? What game is it for? Why do you suck at weekly uploads? Don't worry, JoJo's got you. I'm gonna explain to you exactly how this works and ways you can combat it. So as I just described, modern hacking includes injecting code into the game that gives you an advantage. Now, have you ever been stuck on a hard level and decided to hand the controller to your older brother for him to help you beat it? Well, this new hack is basically like that, except your older brother is a robot that has insane reaction time. Now, there are 3 steps to accomplish this. First, we need a capture card, which is a device that lets you send video input to a computer to be recorded. Now, this is where things get interesting. Those frames are then analyzed by AI to locate human targets. Now, you might be wondering, how do we get that information back to the computer? With one more piece of equipment called a controller adapter. Now, this is the device used to get the information from the other computer running the hack software back to the computer or console running the game. The intended purpose for this device is to be able to use a mouse and keyboard, Xbox 360, PS4 controller on whatever platform you want to, not just the one it's built for. However, the cheating software uses it to send input from itself to the computer playing the video game, making precise calculations on where to aim and shoot, meaning the only thing the game sees happening is someone using a mouse and keyboard to hit insane shots. But they don't even have to be insane shots. You can adjust it to be as real looking as you want it to be, to the point where if someone was using this, it would just look like they were kicking your ass. You wouldn't even be able to tell they were hacking. And one of the worst parts about it is that it doesn't matter what platform you're playing on. It does not care what game you're playing. Basically, any FPS game, any game where your targets are roughly human shaped, it'll figure it out. Because you're using a capture card, it doesn't matter what platform you're on. A capture card is used to bring footage from any other device like an Xbox or a PS4, a Switch, to the computer to be recorded. And then the controller adapter is how it can get to any of those devices, inputting godlike reflexes while looking like someone using a controller. It's honestly pretty smart, and it makes me wonder, what if in the future they use this kind of like system to make godlike reflex robots to murder people in combat? They already have technology that can snipe mosquitoes out of the air to stop malaria spreading in Africa, so I'm just thinking it's not that much of a leap from that to robots that murder people. Now, this type of hacking would be a huge threat to FPS games in general. So much of a threat that Activision has sent cease and desist letters to the guy making it, trying to get it shut down completely. You have to think about what they have at stake here. If they have an undetectable cheat out on the market for apparently as low as $50, it could completely demolish their games. They're trying to kill it at the source before development can even be finished on it. And while these efforts are working, it doesn't mean everything's great. The cheat software itself has already been developed. developed, and there are apparently already hundreds of people who have it. There's not much stopping these hundreds of people from giving it to anyone else. But there is one fact that can help prevent the spread of it, which is the fact that it requires hardware to work. Hardware that can get pretty pricey. A capture card isn't going to get any cheaper than $100, and that Titan 2 controller adapter is at least $200. I personally believe that this cost is actually going to help affect the spread of this cheat, because while there are a couple hundred people who have it, if they started handing it out, people couldn't just use it. However, that doesn't mean it's not going to spread. It's 100% going to spread. You need to be ready to get nay-nayed on. You need to prepare your anus.
Try to relax your anus.
If we're talking about actually trying to counter these hacks, we got to think about what would be possible to do that. Now, the big downside to this cheat is that technically you're not getting any extra information that the player doesn't get when they're playing the game. The software can literally only see frames the player is seeing. It's just inputting way faster than a human would and being able to analyze it faster than someone who's bad at the game could. Now, as it's been described to me, the way it works is by looking for human silhouettes, meaning anything that looks roughly human shaped, a body, 2 arms, 2 legs, roughly in that area. Immediately, this makes me think there are a lot of ways we could beat this. Let's start with CSGO. CSGO is known to have many angles that are really hard to actually see someone peeking from. People term these areas head glitches. They're not actually glitches, it's just spots where it's really hard to spot someone because their head is the only thing visible. Depending on how this cheat software works, these spots might actually not be detectable by the AI, because all you see is a little stub of their head sticking out. So theoretically, just as it's kind of hard for humans to hit these shots, it can be hard for the AI to hit these shots because they don't actually see anything but a little stub. They can't tell it's a player. In fact, the more you think about it, it sounds like these hacks would have to be in pretty perfect conditions to work. You'd have to be playing with decent visibility, close enough for it to detect it's a human. Also, how do you tell it's an enemy and not your teammate? There are plenty of games with team damage where I'm sure this would backfire. Another thing to factor in is bullet drop. There are very few games nowadays that don't have some kind of bullet drop for sniping. The 2 main exceptions to that being Valorant and CSGO. I'm not sure how the program would handle sniping, which is the only way I could think effectively for you to fight at long distances where it can't actually identify targets. You'd need to zoom in on them in your scope for the AI to be able to detect a human target. So if it doesn't know how to handle bullet drop and can't tell how far away the target is, how are you going to be able to hit shots with this software? Another idea I find a little funnier but still could possibly be useful: camouflage. The entire point of camouflage in general is to keep yourself hidden, usually among foliage. Now, if the point of this AI is to spot out human silhouettes, the obvious solution to prevent you from being spotted is to blend in to something. Blend into a wall, blend into the night, blend into something where the AI cannot detect you. Another solution is wall banging. The AI doesn't have wall hacks. It cannot see you through walls. That means walls are your friends. If you stay behind them, it can't detect you. It doesn't know where you are. It has to look for you in the view it's given. Now, I'm mainly pulling these out of my ass. I'm just coming up with them on the spot. Stuff that I think sounds like it would be useful against fighting a hacker who you know only has soft aimbot, but apparently you are able to tweak it up to snap right onto targets and fire, meaning no matter how good you are or how fast your reflexes are, you're not going to be able to beat it. The downside to using the hacks in that manner though is that it's very obvious when you are hacking. When you're flicking on and locking onto targets, it's very easy to tell that someone's not being legit. The downside to hacking in this manner is that any manual review of a hacker will cause them to be banned immediately. Games like CSGO have manual review. Whenever a spin botter pops into a game, they're probably going to get banned a game or two later. Games that have player reporting and manual review are the only ways to stop this from spreading. The hackers have to choose between either using soft aimbot or getting banned way faster. And in the case of these manual bans, where anti-cheat software didn't actually detect hacks, you then could start looking into hardware bans. It doesn't matter if you weren't hacking on that hardware. If getting banned from a game, hardware bans you from that game, this is a good way to stop this hack from spreading because now they're out of equipment to play the game. Now let's go back to ways you can actually counter this in games. Since again, there's no code being injected into the game to give them an advantage, all they have is the screen to work with, which means if they cannot see you, they cannot kill you. This could be as simple as being behind them, throwing a flashbang or a concussion grenade, or shooting through a smoke. All these things are effective methods to beat this hack. The way we can sum up how this hack works is that if the person wants to not get caught, they have to actually be kind of good at the game. If they have it turned up high enough to where you can't beat it, they could very easily be spotted out and banned for it. To summarize how to beat it, just get good at the game, kid. There's no doubt I've been in instances where I've played against soft aimbot, and I'm sure that my natural skill has beaten it at least once, if not more. You have to work on your aim. You gotta work on hitting your shots. You gotta do better. You gotta be better at game sense. You gotta know angles. And again, that's all if it's soft aimbot. Otherwise, it's just like any other hacks. You're going to get screwed and it's going to suck. That's all we have for today. If you enjoyed, leave a like, and everyone have a good day.